welcome back to part 4 of episode 112 of Top Rope Reality. I'm Mike Hogan.
I'm just Kyle.
And we're going to start off with 13 biggest matches WWE should have booked in the 80s but did not. Number 2 this week, Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat 2.
Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat's Intercontinental Championship match from WrestleMania 3 is still considered one of the greatest of all time by millions of people. That match took place nearly 30 years ago. And one of the most surprising things to come out of that match was the fact that there was never a rematch booked. The company appeared to be building towards one as the post-WrestleMania 3 storyline still positioned Savage as chasing his Intercontinental Championship title on the May 2nd, 1987 episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. Unquestionably, though, the biggest opportunity for the return match was in the second round of the next year's WrestleMania 4 WWF Championship Tournament. The brackets were positioned so that if both men won in the first round, the two former foes would square off again in one more classic confrontation, as Steamboat put it. Even Steamboat was surprised when he learned that the rematch would not be taking place. He lost to Greg Valentine. He lost.
Preach, brother, preach.
Hallelujah. He lost to Greg Valentine. I'm not taking anything away from Greg Valentine.
But you need to make the matches mean so much more.
But I'm also taking away something from Greg Valentine.
Steamboat Savage would be a better match.
He did not need to lose to Greg Valentine in the first round.
But back
as
then,
his WWE star continued to fall.
Back then, they wanted faces versus heels instead of good matches.
Conventional thinking says that Steamboat returning the favor for Savage at WrestleMania 4 would have made Savage's eventual championship coronation even bigger, since he would have avenged the loss from the previous WrestleMania. But the company may have been concerned with fans being split in their support. A babyface contest could have led to Savage being booed by a portion of the crowd and possibly jeopardized the reaction that they wanted for Randy Savage as the new WWF champion.
Nope.
And company flag bearer during Hogan's upcoming absence.
Nope, that wouldn't happen.
One thing positive that can be taken from the lack of this epic rematch is that it makes their WrestleMania 3 match that much more special for the one-time only spectacle that it is.
Oh, so they really were only one time in a lifetime.
In a lifetime.
Compared to some of the people who were supposed to be
some of the people that were planned to be twice in a lifetime.
Yes. No, I see what they're saying. Oh, Savage. Okay, he might have got booed during the match, but trust me, at the end, Steamboat shakes the hand, they have a little hug, he raises his hand up. That's all it takes.
They earned the respect of each other.
He gets the respect, you get the respect of the fans, and he goes on, and there would be no problem with that. And he would go on to win the title thanks to Hogan hitting DiBiase with the chair.
Exactly.
So, well, let's talk about what's next. Is we're going to talk about W stars that failed as the guy. This week, number 12, RVD.
Die-hard wrestling fans have wanted to see RVD become the WWE champion for years, before it finally happened in 2006. The ECW brand returning to become part of the WWE universe opened up the opportunity for RVD to become the face of a show. RVD defeated John Cena in a legendary moment to win the WWE Championship and become the ECW champion as well. The brand showed great promise of something different from the typical WWE shows and gave us excitement heading into it. The story ends very similar to the Roman Reigns incident with the wellness policy preventing RVD from succeeding in the role. RVD and Sabu were pulled over and arrested for carrying marijuana. That's Mary Jane in their car. WWE suspended RVD and took both titles off of him. We would never see him in a main event position ever again. RVD gave reason for WWE to believe they were right all along and never viewed him as a top guy following the incident.
Oh, Mary Jane. Took him down.
But next week, one of your favorites. We're going to talk about Goldberg.
Oh, you got a Goldberg-Brock match at WrestleMania 33?
No, please. No, please.
Well, up next, folks, we're going to bring out the old storybook. It's storybook time.
Sonny, I'm going to talk to you about a story
The fathers and sons who won the same wrestling titles. In Chapter 7 this week, it's the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, and his son, David Hart Smith, World Tag Team Championships.
The son that can now legally be called Davey Boy Smith Jr. Which is good. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
For the early years of my professional wrestling fandom, this person here,
Yeah.
this particular person.
So who wrote the book, not us?
Who wrote the book? I'm just reading the book. It ain't
Yes.
my book. I'm reading the book. You understand? Davey Boy Smith flew the flag for us Brits. Apparently, it's a British person that wrote this book.
All right.
We learn something new every day about this particular book.
I'll give the guy a hand. Hey, all right, Britt.
In the WWF, across his many stints with the WWF, Bulldog won the World Tag Team Championships on 2 separate occasions. Once with compatriot, the Dynamite Kid, in 1986, and then again 10
Wow.
years later with brother-in-law Owen Hart.
Wow.
It would be 14 years before the Smith family tasted tag team gold. Once again, well, bronze by this point, because it looked like a pretty penny.
It looks like a pretty penny.
When Bulldogs, not Bill Goldberg, when Bulldog's son, David Hart Smith, won the titles with Tyson Kidd under the moniker name of the Hart Dynasty. D.H. Smith, as they like to call him, wouldn't get much of a push in the WWE, however, and was released in, I can't believe it's been that long,
Wow.
in 2011. He's since gone on to experience great success in Japan, winning tag team titles in Japan. And an eventual return to WWE shouldn't ever be ruled out.
No.
But if they bring him back, you can't go back with Tyson Kidd, never mind.
No,
sorry, guy.
Who's teaming with, bring both of them in. Who's teaming with
Thank you.
Japan?
Bring with Lance Hoyt back.
Yes.
Yes.
Archer. Lance Archer.
Lance Archer, because he had to combine his 2 names. Lance Hoyt from TNA and Vance Archer from, WWE. I like it, though.
And finally this weekend part for the list. 2 more times the WWE lied to our faces. Number 5, DX being a main reason WWE won the Monday Night Wars.
A classic case of WWE revisionism, big word,
And it's true.
is the perception of the 2 defining stables of the Monday Night Wars. The NWO and D Generation X. DX was created as a response to the NWO, and while they were pretty over group, they are constantly portrayed as more successful than the NWO, especially under the Triple H era. So sorry.
But
The fact is, while DX were popular, they were nowhere near as popular or better than the NWO. The NWO changed professional wrestling.
Hogan, Nash, Hall.
Right. See, DX figured out a formula where there was like 5 of them.
Yeah.
The NWO had an original formula of 3, and I would have been okay with 5 being the Big Show and X-Pac. Boom. Done. That's it. Those 5. We're done. We're finished. Keep it like that. But they got a little greedy. And they made like 45 people.
Yeah, half the roster is in NWO, so...
Every time you turn around, I'm turning to my partner and I'm joining the NWA, boy.
And then I'm turning back because I don't want to part of the NWO.
How many times Kurt Hennig? Oh my goodness, he was 4 Horsemen supposedly, then he became NWO White and Black, then he became NWO Wolfpack, then he became NWO White and Black, and then they kicked him out. Come on, guys.
Then became the Texas one.
Yeah, West Texas.
West Texas.
Yes, but
Okay.
it did help some people. If we didn't have the NWO, we would have never had Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. I do not believe he would have ever been Big Papa Pump.
Well, he could have Big Papa Pump and some other body, and then I have Big Papa Pump and somebody else, you know. He could be part of the 5.
Right.
Keep it at 5.
Take out the Big Show, add in somebody else later on.
Savage and Steiner with Hogan, Nash, and Hall.
Right.
Hogan gets bumped out, okay, then add somebody else in. It's,
Right. Keep it at 5, but move people around. I think NWO also helped Buff Bagwell, even though it didn't help him to go to WWE.
Alright.
But that helped Buff Bagwell to become a household name.
That's why he's trying to sue him.
Yes, he is. We didn't talk about that this week.
That's another thing I want to mess with.
Enough suing people, you know?
Yes.
Oh, that's all him do. Anyway, let's see. The NWO changed professional wrestling. They were the bad guys. Everyone hated but also loved or cheer. See, they hated them because of how good Hogan was a heel. They loved him because Nash and Hall were that new school cool heels.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a little mixture of both. Let me take a survey, you know, one of those type of things. Their core group was full of main eventers. Their core.
You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No offense, but Stevie Ray, Mike Rotunda, Scott Norton, Brian Adams, Virgil. Not so much! Ladies and gentlemen.
NWO Sting.
The NWO Sting, Mr. Jeff Farmer. No, sir. Not a main eventer in a long shot. My goodness, not even if all the other main eventers in the NWO were all injured, those people I just said would never be the main event. But their core group was full of main eventers, while DX's group at their prime had Triple H leading X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and Chyna upper mid cards at best. The NWO may have lost WCW the Monday Night Wars, but it was because of the likes of Mike Tyson, Vince McMahon, Stone Cold, and The Rock, among others, not because of DX solely. I would honestly, in my heart of hearts, I think if you solely put it on one person that won the Monday Night Wars, be Stone Cold. I mean, he kind of dwindled down by 2001, but what was it that tickered over into their favor? What was the one person that...
And Vince.
Right. I mean, if you didn't have Vince, I mean, Stone Cold could have fought off with other people, but...
Having the boss.
Having the boss helped, but that also made WWE rest on their laurels, and now you had to have a feud with the boss every freaking night.
Yeah.
You don't need a boss on there every freaking night.
No.
But anyway.
And that also led to, if you look at it, I bet you, if you watch the history, Eric Bischoff went from good boss to bad boss when he saw how good Vince being bad boss was.
Yeah, remember, he was just a color commentator, just like Vince was. Technically, though, the history is Eric actually turned and became part of the NWO before Vince ever turned, because Brett was still in WWF when Eric was a heel.
I have to look back and watch and see. So,
but Eric later on came back and eventually kind of tried to be face and stuff right before Vince bought him out.
Well, number 4 of the 15 times WWE launched our phase. Number 4, Jeff Jarrett's contract dispute.
Jeff Jarrett's time at WWE is infamously known for the way he exited the promotion. According to revisionist history, Jarrett held out for a lot of money to put over Chyna in a good housekeeping match for the Intercontinental title. So they didn't put that in here, but I got the history.
Yeah, it was for a good housekeeping. Yeah.
So stupid. At No Mercy, because his contract expired a day before the pay-per-view. The tale says that Jarrett extorted his star. He could have just daggum took the belt and took it off of him and said, Jeff Jarrett quit the company and now we're going to crown a new champion.
Yeah.
Anyway, he extorted Vince McMahon for $300,000 just to be able to wrestle one match without a contract. However, in reality, Jarrett was just paid what he was owed by the company up front. Oh, yeah. WWE aren't too keen on letting that side of the story be known, though, as Jarrett has been painted as the villain ever since.
Yes.
With Vince getting his revenge by firing Jarrett on live TV when he acquired WCW because J-E-W-J-A-R-R-E-T is F-I-R-E-D. That's exactly how it went down.
Yes.
If WWE had avoided this situation in 1999, the wrestling future may have been very different. The biggest instance being with TNA not coming into existence. See, Vince wouldn't have to worry about that pesky little TNA. I mean, he's not really worried too much.
No.
I mean, he probably was a little worried when he lost people like Christian and Booker T.
But if you look
Kurt
back,
Angle,
if you look back now, I mean, if TNA was like WCW and putting some hurt on Vince, then you can point back to this part.
You could and be like, well, you should have just hired Jeff Jarrett. But clearly that has not happened.
No.
But that is very interesting that there was money owed to him, and that's all they did was just pay his money to him, and then he finished out his contract. But it's always good, it's always fun to point the blame to someone else and make someone else the bad guy. It makes for a good narrative.
Yeah. If you say your side of the story, they say their side of the story, and people believe what they want to believe.
That is very true, but next time...
Right here at Top Rope Reality 113. Ooh, unlucky 13.
Ooh, the unlucky 13, but there's extra one in front of it, so we're going to
okay. We'll talk. We'll have more ringside news. Don't know what we're going to talk about.
Never know. We might go in depth about Buff Bagwell.
Who comes in? Who doesn't come in? Who's got fired? Who got hired? Ooh. We'll do pay-per-view review. Backlash. 3 more backlashes.
We're going to talk about Goldberg being the WWE star that failed as the guy, because Triple H, he holds everybody down.
Right, with his foot on that shovel.
I'm telling you.
We'll finish up the top 15 times WWE lied to our faces.
We're going to do number 3, number 2, number 1.
Knock it out of the park.
Knock it out of that park.
The biggest matches WWE should have booked in the 90s, but did not.
We did 80s this week. We go back to 90s like always. We got the Cruiserweight Classic Tournament second round matches. We got 3 of them to go over with you. We'll tell you who won the matches. Plus, Top Rope Reality story time as usual. Open up the book to go to chapter number. Are we going down or up?
We're going 8.
We're going 8, so we're going up. We started the chapter. I didn't know we were doing countdown or
How
not.
do you read a book backwards?
Some people do.
Oh, you read a book backwards? You find out
Some
somebody
people
got
do.
killed and you get up and he was born.
Hey, some people like to know what happened at the end and then go backwards. You never know.
And we'll
We went
finish up.
chapter 8.
We'll finish up with the greatest Intercontinental Champion of SummerSlam. Will it be Triple H or will it be Ravishing Rick Rude?
I have a feeling their shovel will be in all
Plus
existence.
so much more.
There will be a shovel and ball.
And will it be 2 out of 3 or will it just be 1 roll and that's all?
You never know.
What can we do?
Ooh, 2 out of 3 might be interesting. Because it's the roll of the wheel, so it's spin the wheel, make the deal.
Mm-hmm.
We might even make them have a coal miner's grab back.
We could.
Coal miner on a pole.
We could. Or you just,
So
put
stupid.
or you just put their name on it and put a coal mine on the pole, whichever one lands on. It's the winner.
Tell you, those daggum choices.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Those choices were pretty stupid. But, again, it's something that right there, the spin the wheel, make the deal.
Mm-hmm.
If you really realize it, WCW did something else to change wrestling. Because when Eric Bischoff became Raw General Manager, what was one thing he did when they were in Vegas?
Right about Raw Roulette.
Raw Roulette. Was it not spin the wheel, make the deal?
Spin the wheel, make the deal.
It was the same thing, but Vince, he's all about not using their ideas.
No.
But it was spin the wheel, make the deal.
A few more things we use, like War Games, Halloween Havoc.
Oh, yeah. Which was where the spin the wheel, make the deal came from. But I would much rather like...
Power some brains to be on the writing team that are wrestlers that have brains.
Right. But I would much rather like if they did War Games, since it's different, it's not something he did, they do it in NXT on one of the takeovers. I don't want it on Raw and SmackDown.
I would like that.
That would be different.
That would be different.
It would give NXT something first time ever.
You could do the ring. Now it takes up 2 rings.
But if you're in a Barclays Center or something like that, you got plenty of room.
You got 12,000 instead of 15,000.
You still made a lot of money, so.
Yeah, and people will come and have to see it.
They would.
5-on-5 teams or 4-on-4. Come on, take over War Games, please. It
writes itself.
It writes itself.
There's the name NXT
Team
Takeover.
Samoa Joe taking on Team Nakamura. I'm right here.
We need to get paid. We need to get
I'm right
paid.
here.
We need some bread, some cheddar, some
jack,
yeah, some green.
Well, I want to thank everybody for watching this week. I know we ran a little late.
We did.
But that's the way it goes sometimes. We ramble.
We do ramble. We gotta work on it. I know.
I know. But come on back to an episode next week, 114 and
113.
113. I'm jumping a week. I want to come back after SummerSlam.
Yes, 114 was where I go over SummerSlam.
Yes. Next week we'll take over and we'll talk about SummerSlam being that weekend, the big SummerSlam weekend.
Because we'll film on SummerSlam.
We will.
On that day.
So we'll be
not
quick.
on top of SummerSlam.
But it will be quick.
But yes, it will have to be quick because we got to watch SummerSlam.
We're gonna watch that pre-show. Who will it be?
Yeah, I love the pre-show.
Well, I'm Mike Hogan.
I'm just a guy.
We'll see you next week.